Here we go again. Again. Back to Space Engineers. After playing some Empyrean Galactic and getting frustrated with how things worked and frustrated with the combat focused gameplay, here I am mining in Space Engineers. Well, yeah. The thing I love and hate about this game, but it truly makes it a good game, is the more frustrating it is, the more problems you have while you're building something or putting something together, the more interesting it is. Uh, Engineering solutions to problems is really what the gameplay in this game is all about. And finding things that can help you with your gameplay problems. This ship is a vertical atmospheric miner, so it only works in atmospheres. It has a bunch of drills on the bottom. And right now we are mining some iron, because completely ran out of it building some other ships and working on a base. So I am on an Earth-like planet with 1 gravity. I have inventory sizes set to huge. That really doesn't matter though. So this is a ship I designed, or I saw something like it. There's many like it on the workshops, many other designs very similar, but I built this one ground up. And all it does is it mines straight down. It can carry an immense load. It's also enabled with a path assisted mining or path automated mining program. So I can set up a area to mine and it'll do that job all by itself and then return home. But normally I just use it myself. And we're currently getting a little heavy because we've been picking up some stone while we've been mining the ferrite here. So one of the neat functions on miners, you can also set all this up, but one of the basic functions is ejectors. So I don't want all this rock. So we're just going to throw this stone away, or most of it. We'll take some of it back. That's a lot of boulders. You can also use boulders as weapons if you really wanted to demolish other people's bases and stuff, but that really isn't the focus of the game. The focus of the game is about um, mostly logistics and creating vessels to vehicles, ground vehicles, hovering type vehicles like this one. This one does fly, 100% flyer, but creating things to do a job, to fix a problem, to do something for you that you can't normally do on foot in the game, or just to do it faster, or to completely automate it. So we're going to pick up just a little bit more of this, and then we're going to head on back to base, which is not too terribly far away. That should be good. Can always come back. Turn our drills off. You can use first person or third person. So one of the things that I have done on this ship is it flies very badly if it is not perfectly level. So I have a programmable block that will run a script. So I push one button and it automatically levels out. Really kind of wish that was, just default in the base game, but hey, it was part of figuring out how to do a thing. So this particular vehicle can lift tons and tons of weight vertically. So as long as it maintains a fairly level flight, um, it flies wonderfully. If you tip it over, not so much. Unlike Empyrean Galactic, Space Engineers has full collision. So things that you fly or drive around in are pretty fragile. And you slam into something, your ship, or at least parts of it, are going to go flying. I'm coming up on my hillside base where my lander crashed. Didn't really have an option. This is where I made my base. And so we're going to attempt, should be fine, but we're going to attempt to dock and offload our iron and stone. And you can see me playing with the camera here. You can see all different angles. So that can help you line it up. But this particular craft has some cameras on it that are built in just for this. It has one for down. That really helps when it's pushing straight down to find the ore, when to stop breaking the stone, and when to actually start turning on the harvest function. But it also has a rear camera to help line up with the docking. Highly recommend. Alright. I'll lock everything down. Jump out of our ship. It should be offloading. We got our jetpack going. And for whatever reason, the orange in this game looks a bit too, or the red in the game looks a bit too orange. I went with blue. That's my little space engineer guy. He's got a little skeleton outfit. Some of the outfits and extra stuff come from the unknown signal that you can see way off in the distance there. So you can get those from unknown signals. So this is my little base here. We got a cryopod to sleep in or recharge our energy and hydrogen. I got a battery status window here, a little LCD. Tells us almost all of our batteries are all the way charged up. So you can see the base now has that iron ore. Iron. This is another LCD. There's another script. It's called Automatic LCDs 2. And it was just to be able to display information like this on a windowed panel here. So we got a lot of ice. We got some cobalt, some nickel. And we got some nickel, some iron, and some stone. And that's all should be processing in the refineries back here. Yep. You can see the refinery processing the stone. And I don't know why it keeps stealing my uranium out of my large reactors. I have some kind of setting wrong, but undock our ship here. We shouldn't need this one for a while. And don't do what I did. Hopefully it doesn't have any damage. I turned the power off and just dropped it straight down. Take it out and examine for damage. That was pretty low drop. That's why I have the little hole here for parking. Yeah, looks alright. So you can grind things down. And they have different states of building. And you have to insert different amounts of stuff, components. And then you weld them up. And they become fully functional. That's pretty much the basics, but... So, now that we are disconnected, we are going to go ahead and land on our drills, turn our ship off to save fuel, and we'll take a little look at the base here. Somehow I turned the power off on the whole base. Again. Probably because I was in the ship, connected to the base, and turned all the power off. Great. It's always something. So we need to go to our batteries. Turn all our batteries on. Need to go to our wind turbines. And turn all our wind turbines back on. Now we can visually check. We can see our LCD screens are on again. We can see our wind turbines are spinning, so power's back on. So this is the main crate that we interact with. We can drop off stuff here. This has all our components in it. There is another large crate underneath the floor for... Ugh, that hurt a little bit. For ores and ingots, which is what you build everything out of. These various tubes and boxes are conveyors. They connect different machinery together so that the refinery that is down here, laying on its side, half buried, can get stuff from this box, the connector where we dropped all our iron off from our ship out here, all the way piped all over the base. So everything is interconnected. So if I want to, I can go into here and go into inventories, and I can interact with the refinery that is underneath the ground, or underneath the deck of our base. So we've made a couple ships. These are various base pieces, like these are batteries. This is a mod called the Build and Repair System. Here's our assemblers, which make all the base components. We can go into, and that one's upside down. We can go into here and go into production and like make some motors, which are used in thrusters and in wheels and various other things. And out here we have a setup with our big fat grinding ship, but we have a setup for creating small ships. We have a battery that's currently charging. You can see how much stored power it has, input it has, output. 100 watts, good lord. Go into the control panel here and turn the projector off so the battery can charge. We'll do the same thing on this larger setup. There are two sizes of blocks in the game, large and small block. So right now this is the same setup, just in large block with extra solar panels. So this setup here is for creating a projection of a ship, and then you attach it to the little whatever, and then you can build it. So it's basically, it's a 3D hologram of the ship that you can turn into a ship. And this is how you can copy and paste in survival. So this was a previous design from a previous game, and what I did is made a projection, a 3D image, and then attached the 3D image to this stick here, and then fed components and various pieces into it until it became real. This big monster here, these things on the front of it are grinders, and they are used to break down in-game blocks. So, like, anything that you can see that is not dirt, stone, terrain are the in-game blocks. So all the gray and the red scattered around here. And what we're going to do is we're going to show off this big fat ship, which is... Oh, don't lie to me, you have fuel. Which is currently attached to the deck via one landing gear all the way in the back. Landing gear's unlocked. And up she goes. Now, this is very similar to my other vessel, where it has tremendous amounts of vertical lift. You can see some of the very, very large thrusters there in the center. Thrusters in all directions. And all sorts of other various junk in there, but it's all kind of slightly covered up. It is a utility ship. It is not meant to be pretty or look pretty at all. It's meant to do a job. And the job that this thing does is breaking down other blocks. So that's what we're going to go do with it. We're going to go demo it a little bit here. So we recently changed it. We put all this extra plating on the sides, and just kind of made it look a little bit cleaner. It had no plating whatsoever. It was just the important bits. Storage containers, conveyors, some lights. Well, we got to fly over to this wreck of a capital ship that we found. Well, not capital ship. It's just a large block ship. There's only two kinds of ships in Space Engineers, small block and large block. This is a large block ship. And it also is also quite heavy. So we are now about a kilometer away. We should probably start slowing down. Pardon me. A little under the weather. And so this is the wreck of the Christie. And it is a ship, but it is in station mode. So when something is in station mode, it shouldn't fall apart when you grind different pieces off. But everything else, if you destroy one little block here, connecting a section, it will create collapses. So you can see my build and repair system going to work on some of the blocks here. And we're going to try and get a third person sideways on perspective, but we need to level out a little bit here. And we'll turn our grinders on. They don't really animate until you get close enough. And of course, that part sticking out looks like a little telescopic stick sticking out the side is a piston. And there's nothing to grind off the end of the piston. But you can see, why are some on and some off? Oh well. Bad grouping. Something I need to work on. So this is what it's going to look like from the cockpit view. You can see the grinders starting to go to work here. And they make short work of most of the pieces. Some of the pieces with more health take longer to grind down, or if they have more parts in them. So let's try and get a side view. And we'll just creep forward. And you can just see it just cutting blocks to pieces. So that's all this ship does, is it disassembles stuff. And we could do the same thing, but the opposite version. We could put a bunch of welders on here. That's what this ship originally was designed for. And use it to build ships or large 3D projections into ships or structures or bases or whatever. So you trade out all the grinders for welders and weld stuff together to either quickly repair something or to quickly build something. So while I'm doing this, I am gathering lots and lots of different parts and pieces that are going into various cargo containers aboard the ship. And the build and repair system can also be used to grind stuff down way slower than grinders, but it is assisting me in tearing the ship apart. So, camera doesn't look so good from that angle. But all the parts that I have in the ship, need to level out just a little bit. All the parts that I have in the ship currently can be used to repair or build something with via the build and repairs that are in the ship. Build and repair is definitely one of the mods that I would highly recommend, as it takes components from your storage and uses them to build whatever you currently have. So you can see some of these blocks as they break down and they turn light gray, and then they turn into these truss blocks that you can kind of see through. Well, that's how most things start, is they start as a frame. And you have to insert enough components or, materials, ingredients, whatever, however you want to look at it, to complete said block or device. But a lot of this game is about logistics. This is about figuring out how to solve a problem. Currently, I had a problem that this is a very large ship that I want lots of pieces from. So that's why we got our welder ship out and attached a bunch of grinders to it. This will probably be a little faster in first person, and look pretty decent too. So the better I square up, the quicker this actually goes. But again, you have to be careful because you don't want to go too fast, or you will collide and start actually doing damage to your own ship. But it's a very interesting game. I mean, other options were to come over here and actually use this as a base. I could have patched this up, fixed this up, and repaired it and used it as a base. One of the main problems in Space Engineers that you face when you play like in survival mode is, where do I get my power from? Currently my base is being powered solely by wind generators. And these ships that I've been flying around in are powered by uranium, so nuclear power. Well, these capital ships, I've found 3 of them so far. This being the first one that I found, but the last one that I'm taking apart, all had a little bit of uranium in them. One of them had quite a bit. But I need to go to space to get platinum and uranium to build other things. So that is the next endeavor. I have one miner that mines vertically, and one miner that mines horizontally. So probably get rid of that one, tear that one down into pieces, parts, and start building some kind of ship to go into space with. Problem is, once I get to space, I'm going to need to mine stuff. The thrusters that work in the atmosphere don't work in space. So some of these capital ships that I'm tearing apart have parts for space thrusters. Let's just put it the simple way. So I'm getting some of that as well. I don't know when they added these or if I added these as a mod, but having just crashed ships as another way to gain resources is pretty interesting and fun. It allows for more gameplay. I mean, I could have built like a rover if I didn't find the uranium in the crash ships. A little battery-powered solar rover to drive around in to take these ships apart. This large monstrosity is way faster. So that's what I went with. Again, you know, real life time is a precious commodity. Something else to be managed. So we're going to finish tearing this sucker apart, head back to the base, show off our little sideways miner, and probably leave it there after we do that. And then I'm going to work on building a ship. See what I can come up with for some space travel. So, again, this game's kind of cool because it's more about the building. It's really not combat focused. There are space pirates and stuff. And if you want to fight with other players, you can. That's really not what the core of the game is about. So we have made some seriously short work of this really big vessel. Oop, getting all tipped. Let's first person line up again. So as I was building this ship, I installed the auto leveling script. And apparently I put the remote control upside down. So it tried to flip itself upside down. I didn't understand what was going on. Because it takes control of your ability to move and turn the ship. So until it becomes level. So I had the ship standing straight up on its butt. And couldn't do anything with it. So I turned the power off, but I was messing around with this and that, and this setting and that setting, and finally figured it out. Was it frustrating? Oh yeah. Was it really rewarding and fun when I finally did figure it out? very much so. So that's really what this at the heart of the this at the heart of the game. That's what this is all about. It's finding problems and fixing them, which what I've done in real life, mostly construction and repair work. It appeals to me. It's very interesting. But having something to do besides mining is quite nice as well. There's another unknown signal crashing to the ground. We're almost done tearing this apart. So I'll see you in a few minutes back at base. So here we are, pulling back up to base here and try and land without blowing ourselves to Kingdom Come. Our one landing gear that sticks like Spider-Man. And we're stuck. Go ahead and turn that giant sucker off. So to offload this guy that's got a connector in the front here, I have to come around over here and connect that way. Doesn't have any fancy cameras like the other one. Climb on up this ladder and check out our other mining vehicle. Ladders are kind of slow. Considering you have a jetpack, it's still pretty easy to just use the jetpack. So what we've got here is a starter driller. It's got 3 drills. It is got a pretty cool looking cockpit. We zoom in here. You can see it's got a ton of sideways thrusters and some larger vertical thrusters. Most of the cargo is housed in the center and to the back. That's why the larger vertical thrusters are in the rear. This one connects on the bottom to the base. It's okay for the cost. It's all right. It needs, like, in my opinion, it needs another 3 drills because it's just a little too tall to comfortably use these 3 drills for mining and making a hole big enough for the entire ship. But one of the cool things about this one, and why I have 2 mining ships, is using my other ship to make a vertical hole. We can then use this one to creep down that vertical hole and reach the ore bands, because usually it's in thin, small bands, under the ground here. And then just proceed to mine that out as opposed to having to make a whole nother vertical shaft. So that's why we have 2 mining vessels. And this one doesn't have auto leveling either. But even the tiniest collision past a certain speed causes damage. We damaged our grinding ship quite a bit just by grinding the wreck of the Christie back there. The build and repair system, since it was harvesting, build components, was able to, for the most part, repair the ship on the go, which is pretty darn cool. So it's back at 100%. But this is Space Engineers. It's Minecraft in space. It really is. It's just got, in my opinion, much cooler vehicles. Because we can go up there. If we wanted to, we could build a vehicle and go crash into the sun. So that's something for another episode. But that's going to be it for today. So if you watch this and all of this, watch me just say, look at my stuff. Thanks for watching.